We are starting at the very beginning, a very good place to start. And in the old prayer book, we read this that is recited Sunday by Sunday in many churches, and it's made personal. I believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and of all things, visible and invisible. In other words, very simply, there is nothing that God did not create. Taking now our Bible and turning to a reading that is used every Christmas, the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. That's clear. Nothing without reference to God, the Creator. So we are asking God to show us more of what it means to live with him, he, the Creator, the earth and everything beyond it, everything the created. In the beginning was the Word. Now John is saying to us, not that God had a beginning, but before that which we understand as time and as creation, God was. And he was, to use very human language, not needy in any way. That's terribly important, because sometimes we think that God needs us, that God needs this. We're going to discover that because God has no needs in and of himself, all that he's done will become even more wonderful to us. In the beginning, before he gave us these dimensions of time, God was. And he chose to create. Now, a simple illustration. Yesterday we used Julie Andrews. Today I want us to consider an illustration that Archbishop Greg Venables uses often. Think of yourself in the morning getting dressed for a day, and you need to put on a good shirt or a good blouse. And you button up all the buttons and you leave your bedroom and you suddenly realise, something's wrong with it, it doesn't fit. And you notice that the buttons are not in the right holes. There's only one way for it. More time. Undo all the buttons, put the first button in the right buttonhole, and hopefully the rest will follow. That's what we need to do with our faith. Let's start at the very beginning. So God creates, and he has this creation that we're going to call today heaven and earth. And because God is creator, everything and everyone is dependent upon him. But we also need to understand that God has not done something. When we look at our creation around us, we see something of his marvellous character, his majesty. But God is not in his creation in a Hindu or pantheistic way. His creation is separate from him, although God has never abandoned his creation. So creation is part of our pointing to the Creator. Please, let us worship, but let us get the first button in the right buttonhole. I believe in God the Father, maker of all things, visible and invisible.